Hey guys. So today we're going to be starting a new section. Now that we are done with the writing section, we're going to be going and moving on to the reading section, okay, which is actually the first section of the TOEFL. Sorry guys, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I left the meeting accidentally or something happened. Okay guys, but as I was telling you, today and this week we're going to be working on the reading section. We'll start today, but we'll have the entire week to work on this reading section. Okay, remember that the reading section is the first section that we have in the TOEFL test. It's about reading, so you guys will have to read a short text, then answer some questions about the text, and it's, well, everything's multiple choice. So that means that you get 4 options or 6 sometimes, and you got to choose the one that you think is the right answer. Okay, guys? So let's start with the reading section. As I was telling you, it's over 30, just like the other sections, and it's the first section of the test. Do you guys have any questions before we start today's class? Great. So the structure is pretty simple to understand. You guys will have 2 passages. Do you know what a passage is? Does anyone know?
Maybe it's like a fragment for a lecture.
Yes, it's a reading, right? Remember that lecture is something that you hear. It's a class that you hear.
Yeah, sorry, a reading.
Exactly. So yes, a passage is just a reading. It's a text that you guys have to read. It's like one part of a bigger text. These are always going to be academic. That means that they could be on the sciences, it could be on like the social sciences perhaps, like literature, sociology, anthropology, history sometimes, but they're always going to be academic. So don't expect to get like a letter to a friend or something like that. It's always academic. It's something that you could technically find in an academic textbook of university level material. Now, each passage will contain 10 questions about the passage. So you will read the first passage and you get the first 10 questions. And then you read the other passage and you get the other 10 questions. So that means that in total, you'll be answering 20 questions by the end of the reading section. And you get 36 minutes for the 2 of them, 36 minutes total. Now, if you guys do the math, that means that you have 18 minutes per passage or 18 minutes per 10 questions. Okay? Now, this is really important to clarify. You guys will not have a separate timer. No les van a dar 2 temporizadores, 2 relojes diferentes para cada set de preguntas, ¿verdad? You're not going to get 2 separate timers for every set. You'll get 1 for the entire reading section. Les dan uno para todo el reading. So it's completely up to you how you organize your time. If you are organizing your time well, then you should have no problems. But if you're not really managing your time properly, then at the end of the day, you're going to run out of time. Ya depende de ustedes cómo organizan su tiempo. Técnicamente podrían pasarse los 36 minutos en 5 preguntas. Nadie les va a decir ya es tiempo de que sigan, pasen en la siguiente. No. Entonces es cuestión de que ustedes no se pasen de los 18 minutos para los 10 primeras preguntas. Y ya van a tener los siguientes 18 para las siguientes 10 preguntas. ¿Okay? Un set, un artículo, 18 minutos. Ustedes tienen que controlar, tienen el timer ahí, es bastante fácil de acordarse, ven el número 18 y pasan al siguiente. okay? In average, we're saying that you have 10 questions for 18 minutes. So in average, you should have 1.8 minutes per question, right? 1.8. That's about 1 minute and let's say 45 seconds. That's kind of what the amount of time that you have per question, almost 2 minutes. Now, this is an average. There are going to be questions that are going to require more time, and there are going to be questions that are going to be easier and that you should be able to answer in like 30 seconds. So it's obviously depends on the question type, okay? But as a general rule, if you're going over 2 minutes, si se pasan de 2 minutos, time to move on. You choose one randomly, escogen una al azar y van a la siguiente. Un consejo muy importante, y lo voy a decir en español. Para no perder oportunidades, nunca dejen una pregunta en blanco. Da lo mismo si responden mal o si no responden, tienen el mismo puntaje. Entonces, 1000 veces mejor tener 25% de probabilidad de tener la correcta y responder a la pregunta. Incluso si no saben o no están seguros de las respuestas. Segundo, si van a adivinar, si digamos que no saben la respuesta a la pregunta o digamos que se quedaron sin tiempo y tienen 1 minuto para hacer 5 preguntas, adivinen, escojan una, pero siempre marquen la misma. Es decir, siempre pongan a todas. Todas las últimas 5 que no tienen tiempo de responder, ponen A. No vayan así de la primera A, luego ponen B, luego C y luego B, porque así tienen menos probabilidad de tener las correctas. ¿Ok? Si ponen todo A, entonces tienen más probabilidades de que algunas sí sean A. Fija, una va a ser A, ¿verdad? Al menos una. So that's one important thing. Okay, if you guys are going to guess, choose the same option for every question that you're guessing. You always click on A. And what else did I say? Don't leave questions in blank. Make sure that you answer each and every question, because if you leave some questions in blank, you're just losing opportunities of maybe guessing and getting it right. Another thing, don't take any notes. I mean, you don't have to take notes while you're reading, but you can mark the questions that you're guessing. Digamos que están en la pregunta 3 del primer pasaje y no saben la respuesta, se están dando ya 2 minutos ahí, tienen que seguir a la siguiente, entonces van a adivinar, van a poner A. Marquen, pueden tomar notas durante todo el test, así que pongan pasaje 1, pregunta 3, 1 y 3. Entonces, si al final tienen tiempo extra, pueden volver a esa pregunta. Si no, se queda con A. Okay? Pero marquen las preguntas para saber a cuáles volver. Because you guys have the opportunity of going back, of going forward, of skipping questions, of reviewing at the end. You have a lot of options here in the reading. You can jump around, you can go forward, you can go back. You can do whatever you want, pretty much. So if you have extra time at the end, you can go back and review the questions that you guessed. And if you don't have time, it won't be a problem because you have either way already selected an option. But so mark your responses, okay? So I guess those are the most important things that I can say, right? Those are very important tips, and those are so basic things, but sometimes the students have problems because they don't know that format, right? Sometimes you're like, it's better to leave it in blank than to have it wrong. Maybe they're going to take off some points if I have it wrong. It doesn't work like that. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. So it's better to always choose one randomly. It's better to always guess if you don't know the answer. Okay, guys? So those are some technical, that's some technical information that I wanted to share with you guys. Is it okay? Do you have any questions so far?
Everything's okay till here, teacher.
Okay, Walter, thank you. All right, then. So with that being said, we're going to go right off and look at the different question types that we have. The most useful thing that I can teach you guys, the most useful thing that we can do together in class is to take a look at the different question types we have in the reading. So we're going to go one by one, looking at the 10 different question types that we have in the reading. We have 10 of them: vocabulary, detail, except, inference. We'll see all of them. And we're going to see them with examples, okay? So we're going to be working with an official practice set from the ETS itself. So it's something very similar to what you have in the real test. We're going to be working with this set right here. So I will send you guys a document containing the reading, the passage, so that you can read at your own pace. But I'll give you some tips before that, so don't worry. Let's see. Okay, guys, so I just sent you the link to this document that contains the reading part, the text. This is the worksheet that we're going to be working on. It's official from the ETS. If you look at the website, it's ets.org. That's the official ETS website, the company that makes the TOEFL. And it's a practice set. It's one of the practice sets. We're going to be working on the first one, reading practice set number 1. It's about the rise of Teotihuacan. Okay, guys? Now, how does this work? In the real test, the first thing that you will do is you will have to read the text. Or you don't actually have to read it. If you want, you can skip it. But technically, they will show you the text first without getting into the question. Now, it's completely up to you how much time you spend there. So let's start by the most important tip. Do not waste time reading the passage, okay? That's really important. No pierdan el tiempo. Lo primero que les va a aparecer cuando entren a reading, en uno de los sets, es el texto. Solo el texto, sin las preguntas. Y ustedes pueden quedarse cuanto tiempo quieran leyendo. Pero el tiempo ya está contado. Entonces no pueden quedarse ahí leyendo detalle a detalle, palabra a palabra, entendiendo todo por 10 minutos o 5 minutos, porque van a perder tiempo para las preguntas. Los 18 minutos es para todo, para leer. Entonces, el consejo más sabio que les puedo dar, el más útil, es sí lean el texto, pero no lo lean a detalle. Entonces, no lean todo tampoco. La palabra correcta es escaneen el texto. Let's see, ¿por qué estás? So what do I mean by scanning the text? What you guys have to do is try to actively read and search for the most important ideas in the text. The first thing that you need to do is obviously read the title. The title will give you a good idea about what everything is about. It's like a summary of everything. So in this case, we have the rise of Teotihuacan. What do you guys think this text is going to be about? What can you guess from the title? The rise means the development, the growth. So it's probably going to talk about the growth, the development of Teotihuacan. We don't know what Teotihuacan is yet, but if you have, I don't know, like if you have some common knowledge, then maybe you can guess that it's something like a culture, like a city, like maybe, I don't know, like something probably, it looks like a Mexican thing, right? But we don't know. So, what do I mean by scanning the text? First, siempre lean un poquito más que lo demás la introducción, el primer párrafo. Aquí usualmente van a tener un poco de contexto que les va a servir para entender la idea en general. So we start reading around. It says the city of Teotihuacan. Con eso ya tenemos más contexto. Entonces, the rise of Teotihuacan, the development of the city. It was a city. Y luego, si ustedes ya ven estos números, su mente tiene que borrarlos. Todos estos detalles son irrelevantes. Ven las ideas. Esto dice which lay about, simplemente eso ya saben que se refiere a dónde estaba ubicado, ¿no? Which lay about kilometers northeast, su ubicación, Mexico. Ok. It began its growth, esa es una palabra clave, ¿no? Crecimiento. And then you start scanning the text at its height, okay, people covered, apartment complexes, great market, okay, más o menos da una idea de qué están hablando. Industrial workshops, entonces mercados, or industrial workshops, industry, administrative center, maybe administration, religion, architecture perhaps, planning control, expansion of the city, okay, religious contacts with parts of Mesoamerica. Eso es lo que tienen que hacer, escanear el texto rápidamente para ver de qué más o menos trata. Y luego, el consejo que les puedo dar es cada párrafo después del primero, solamente lean la primera oración o las primeras oraciones hasta que encuentren la idea principal. So you're going to read the first sentences until you get the main ideas. So for example, it says, how did this tremendous development take place and why did it happen in the Teotihuacan Valley? Among the main factors are, so just by reading that, you already know what this paragraph is about. Solo leyendo eso ya sabemos que se trata de los factores del desarrollo de esta ciudad. This tremendous development in the Teotihuacan Valley. Factores. ¿Qué factores llevaron al desarrollo? Then it says, this last factor. Cuando nos refieren a algo anterior, pueden leer un poco más. This last factor, ¿cuál será ese this last factor? Leemos antes. The impact of natural disasters, such as the volcanic eruptions of the late first millennium. So this last factor, the impact of natural disasters, is at least circumstantially implicated in Teotihuacan's rise. Entonces aquí hablan de este impact of natural disasters como un factor del rise de Teotihuacan, ¿no? El desarrollo de Teotihuacan. And then we go to the next. It seems likely that Teotihuacan's natural resources, along with the city elites available to recognize their potential, gave the city a competitive edge for its neighbors. Solo con esa oración ya saben de qué trata, ¿no? The natural resources y they gave the city a competitive edge for its neighbors. La ventaja que tenían con sus vecinos. Long distance trading of obsidian probably gave the elite residents of Teotihuacan access to a wide variety of exotic goods, as well as a relatively prosperous life. Hablan de obsidian, no sabemos qué es todavía. Trading obsidian, so comercio de obsidian, and how this gave the elite a wide variety of exotic goods and a relatively prosperous life, una vida próspera. Y otro consejo, el último párrafo, lo mismo que con el primero. Lo van a leer un poquito más a detalle, no solamente la primera oración, sino que escanean todo el párrafo. So the picture of Teotihuacan is a classic picture of positive feedback among obsidian mining and working, trade, population growth. And you realize that they're talking about different things, right? They're talking about mining, trade, population, irrigation, religion. Okay? And then more details. So that's what I suggest you guys do. And that should take you about 2 minutes or 3 at most. Okay, 2 o 3 minutos para hacer eso, para escanear el texto. Okay, guys? If you use 3 minutes, that means that you have 15 minutes for the 10 questions. So that's about 1.5 minutes per question. If you use 5 minutes, then you only have 13 minutes per question for the 10 questions. And if you use 8 minutes, then you have 10 minutes for the 10 questions. So use as less time as you can. Okay, guys, but do read the text. Don't just skip it. Read around, scan the text to find the most important ideas, and then go directly to the questions. Okay, guys? So is that okay so far? Do you have any questions at all about this first part? Okay, very well. So let's start looking at the questions, and we're going to be seeing the question types. I have it here in my presentation. We're going to start with detailed questions, the most common type of question. And in order to do that, we're going to be answering question 5 of this set. Okay, we'll be answering the 5th question. So I have it here, don't worry about it. Okay, guys, these are detailed questions. We're going to see what they are, but first let's take a look at the example. Camila, please, could you read the question here? Only the question?
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Yeah, sure. I was asking if you could please read the question, question 6.
Okay. According to paragraph 4, what has recent research on obsidian tools at?
Sorry, Camila, I got confused. We said that we were going to answer the 5th question. This one, please.
Okay. Which of the following allowed Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge over its neighbors?
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much, Camila. So, remember that we're looking at detailed questions. El primer tipo de preguntas se llaman detailed questions. So, as the name says, they're going to be asking about specific detailed information in the text. We need to find information that is directly stated, directly mentioned in the passage or in the text. They are always going to be asking about details, about specific details. How do you know that you're dealing with a detailed question? Because it's going to be asking about details. Usually these 5 question words, right? What, when, where, why, how. You can also have who, right? What, when, where, how, which. In this case, we read the question, which of the following allowed the account to have a competitive edge for its neighbors? You first read the question. You know that it's a detailed question. You identify the question as a detailed question. Se dan cuenta que es un detailed question. Y no leen para nada las opciones primero. Okay, you need to block that. Because if you read the options, then you're going to get confused when going back to the text. You're going to be biased to choosing one option. So you don't read the options yet. You just read the question. And then you need to rephrase the question in your mind. Which of the following allowed the Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge? To make it easier, we can say, what allowed the Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge for its neighbors? What, right? What thing allowed the Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge for its neighbors? That is the question. So now you need to go to the text and try to search or look for the answer. And then obviously choose an option. So first, I will give you guys some time to try to do this, to try to answer this question, and then I'll tell you what strategies to use, and I'll tell you exactly what to do. Okay, guys, but I want to give you first a chance to try to answer. So what do you guys think? I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Tell me what you think the answer is. Okay, guys, so what do you think? Do you have any options in mind? No? Any ideas on what the answer could be to this question?
Teacher, I would go with letter A. I will exploit it and read all the available command.
All right, thank you, Walter. Do you guys agree?
Maybe letter D.
Maybe letter D, scarce natural resources in nearby areas. All right. Okay, guys. So let's see what to do with these questions. Detailed questions, as the name says, they focus on specific details. So first, let's talk about the things that you do not have to do. You will never have to read the entire paragraph to answer these questions. So do not waste your time reading everything. That's a very common mistake. Okay? So what you actually have to do is first find the keywords. Make sure that you understand what they're asking for. They say, what allowed Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge for its neighbors? The first step is to search for the keywords in the question itself. The keywords are going to be the most important words that contain the relevant information. So they're looking for what allowed Teotihuacan, so obviously Teotihuacan is going to be a keyword, to have a competitive edge over its neighbors. An edge means an advantage, right? So that's going to be the key. An advantage over its neighbors. So Teotihuacan, advantage neighbors. Those are the keywords. Now, in this case, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, because you guys have a quote. Esta es una cita, ¿no? Es algo que está tal cual el texto, it's a quote. So that means that you're going to be able to find this phrase just like it is in the text. It's here, right? It's a quote. But a lot of times you won't have quotes. Muchas veces no van a ser quotes directas, ¿no? Sino que van a tener que buscar estos keywords, Teotihuacan, edge, and neighbors in the text. You're going to have to search now. Now, another thing is that you won't always have the exact same words. No siempre van a estar en las mismas palabras. Lo importante es enfocarse en la idea. Teotihuacan, edge, neighbors. A veces en vez de edge tienen la palabra advantage, ventaja. Maybe instead of neighbors tienen la palabra the surrounding cities, ¿no? Es lo mismo que neighbors. Entonces lo importante es buscar estas palabras o sus sinónimos en el texto. En este caso está bastante fácil porque es una quote, que va a estar todo tal cual, pero no siempre. ¿Ok? Este es el primer paso. To search for the keywords in the text. Now the second step is going to be to read the sentence where you have found the keywords. Tienen que leer alrededor de los keywords. You don't have to read everything. You read until you find the answer. You are keeping the question in mind. What allowed Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge? So you're looking for what allowed Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge. And we start reading. It says, it seems likely that Teotihuacan's natural resources, along with the city elite's ability to recognize the potential, gave the city a competitive edge for its neighbors. Ustedes ven hasta ahí, ya se deben dar cuenta que ya tenemos la respuesta, porque nos dice todo esto de acá, Teotihuacan's natural resources and the city elite's ability to recognize their potential gave the city a competitive edge. And if you think about it, would you say that giving the city a competitive edge is the same as allowing the city of Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge? Is it the same or at least close enough? Yeah, right, it's referring to the same. Le dio a la ciudad una ventaja, permitió que la ciudad tuviera una ventaja. It's exactly the same. So once that you have found that, you already have the answer. Teotihuacan's natural resources, along with, which means and, the city elite's ability to recognize their potential is what gave the city a competitive edge. Ya tienen la respuesta, tienen que dejar de leer. Todo lo demás no importa. Y no lo van a leer a no ser que viendo las opciones realmente no encuentren una que diga lo mismo. En ese caso pueden continuar leyendo. Pero una vez que ya tienen la respuesta en su mente, empiezan a comparar esa respuesta con las opciones. You start comparing that answer that you have in your mind, natural resources and the city abilities to recognize a potential, with the options. Ahora esta parte puede ser un poco complicada y más que todo tramposa, porque siempre les van a poner opciones que parezcan correctas. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que hay que hacer? Tienen que buscar una que tenga la misma idea, pero desafortunadamente, unfortunately, you won't always have the same words. Unfortunately, we won't always have an option that says, y Teotihuacan's natural resources along with the city elites available to recognize their potential. We're not going to have an option that says that directly, but we need to search for an option that says the same in different words. That means a paraphrase of this idea. So we start going around. Some of you guys were probably thinking option D. Option D is very tempting. Why? Because it contains the word or the phrase natural resources. And natural resources is one of the things that gave the city this competitive edge. So it's close, but we have to analyze the entire sentence. It's not just finding something similar and choosing that. So let's see what else we have, because it has more things. It says, first of all, scarce natural resources. Is this information correct? Were these natural resources really scarce? Do they say this in the text? No, right? They don't say that they were scarce. They actually say that they were rich in these resources. They had a lot of resources. They weren't scarce. They had a lot of them. They were abundant. So this is false information. And then we would also have to check if what it comes after is also true, because it says in nearby areas, such as those located in what are now the Guatemalan and Mexican highlands. So is that true? Also not true, right? This is also false, because it says that the valley was rich in obsidian. So the valley had the natural resources. And the valley is not the Mexican and Guatemalan highlands. It says the valley, like many other places, el valley, como en otros lugares in Mexican and Guatemalan highlands, was rich in obsidian. So they weren't located in the Guatemalan and Mexican highlands, they were located in the valley itself. So option D is very common. It's a very common trap because it contains part of the response, contiene parte de la respuesta correcta, but it contains false information that sounds familiar. Información falsa que les va a sonar familiar si es que han leído, porque mencionan algo parecido, así que les va a sonar familiar, pero no porque suene familiar y tengan frases del texto significa que es la correcta. No es la respuesta a esta pregunta. What allowed Teotihuacan to have a competitive edge? Their natural resources and the ability to recognize their potential. Pero estos natural resources weren't located in these areas, and they weren't scarce. So this is false information. Now, knowledge derived from the omics among toolmaker? Definitely not. Our answer, natural resources and the ability to recognize their potential, has nothing to do with the omics or toolmaking. The presence of a highly stable elite class. That is another tempting response because it contains part of the answer. Contiene parte de la respuesta, ¿no? Porque ¿qué le dio esta ventaja? The resources and the city elite's ability to recognize their potential. Now, do they say that they were a highly stable class? They don't say anything about how stable they were. And it wasn't the stability of the elite that gave them the advantage. It was the ability of the elite to recognize their potential. It wasn't the stability that gave them the advantage. So it's not B, it's not C, it's not D, it has to be A. Y obviamente ahora estamos eliminando las opciones, pero no tienen por qué hacer eso. Directamente empiezan de arriba, ¿no? Entonces, si empiezan de arriba, pueden ir eliminando si no es la A, ¿no? Pero en este caso, si hubieran empezado de arriba, esta es la correcta. No, if you think about it, it's the one that you would least expect because it doesn't contain any familiar words, no contiene nada familiar. It says a well-exploited and readily available commodity. It doesn't sound familiar, but it is exactly what it says in the text. It's just a synonym for natural resources and recognizing their potential. Why? What is the word commodity? Do you guys know what commodity means? Does anyone know?
Your commodities are like some kind of stocks of a resource.
Exactly. So commodity is a resource. It's basically the goods, the things that you possess, the things that you have, the things that you own. It's resources. So commodity doesn't mean comodidad, first of all. It's a synonym for resources. Now they say the readily available commodity. Basically, that's just another way of saying natural, right? It was natural, a natural commodity. It wasn't something that they created, that they produced, that they manufactured. It was something natural. It was a commodity that they had that was natural, right? That was readily available, ready to use, natural, right? Lista disponible, no? Listamente disponible, because it was natural. It came with the land. And then they say a well exploited. How is this related to our answer? Because they say the ability to recognize their potential. So it wasn't just having the resources, right? It wasn't just having the obsidian. It was exploiting them. It was recognizing their potential. So well exploited. So the elite was able to recognize the potential of the commodity they had, of the resources they had, and therefore exploited them well. That is what gave the Tufacan a competitive edge, right? So those are the steps that you guys have to go. First, read the question, don't read the options. Look for the keywords in the question. Find those keywords or their synonyms in the text. Read around the keywords, find the answer, and then look for a paraphrase in the option. Okay, guys? Is that okay? Is that clear? Do you have any questions about this question time? Any questions? Okay,
No,
guys.
teacher.
So now it's your turn. You're going to be answering another one. Let's see, another detailed question from the same set. Okay, question 6. You can do the same as that we just did and let me know what you guys think the answer is. I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay, guys. So what do you think the answer is?
The option D.
Okay, do you all agree? You guys agree?
Yes, teacher. I would
Yes.
also go with letter.
Yes. The letter D, teacher.
Okay, perfect. So yes, it's totally right. So what has recent research on obsidian tools found on omics shown? Pretty easy. We find the keywords, research, obsidian, omics sites. We look for them or their synonyms. Maybe instead of research, you have investigation, expedition, whatever. Obsidian is probably going to be there. Omics sites. So recent research on obsidian tools found on omics sites has shown that some of the obsidian obtained by the omics originated near Teotihuacan. We look for the same thing and we find option D, that's saying the same but in different words. Some of the obsidian used by the omics came from, originated, the area around, near Teotihuacan. Great, well done. Another tip that I can give you guys is please do not make any inferences and don't draw any conclusions based on the information for this question. You need to stick to what you guys know. I'm sorry, to what the text says. Sorry about that. You cannot mix the information from the text with your, let's say, personal or knowledge. So maybe you know about this, maybe you know about Teotihuacan, maybe you're an expert. So don't mix the information. You need to stick to whatever the text says explicitly and don't make any conclusions. Because sometimes you will have an option that says something like, let's say, Teotihuacan had contacts with the Olmec sites or with Olmec sites, let's say. So that is a conclusion that maybe you can draw from this information, right? You're like, okay, so the obsidian obtained by the Olmecs came from Teotihuacan. Then you're drawing conclusion. That must mean that Teotihuacan sold that obsidian to the Olmecs. So if you have an option, Teotihuacan sold obsidian to the Olmecs, that is not the correct answer, right? Because that's you drawing conclusions. That's not what the text says. So just stick to the information that the text contains. That's another mistake that some students make. Okay, drawing conclusions. For this question, you just need to find directly what the text says. Okay, okay, guys? So, is that all right? Do you have any questions about this so far?
Everything is okay, teacher.
Okay, guys, perfect. So I don't know if we have time for another question time, but let's see if we have another practice. Okay. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this presentation with you. And we will be continuing with the other question types tomorrow. We haven't had too much time to go over more question types today, but it's okay because it was our introductory for the class we were reading as well. So we have seen a little bit of format and some tips, but tomorrow we're going to be moving forward a little bit faster. And we'll probably get some time to cover at least 3 or 4 question types. Okay, guys, I'm sending you the PDF as well. And that would be it. Do you really guys have no questions at all?
No, teacher, thank you.
Okay, guys. Then please don't forget to fill out today's daily survey before you go. And I will be seeing you guys tomorrow in class.
Goodbye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, teacher. Teacher, and good night.
Sure.
See you
Good night.
tomorrow.